You're watching Track Talk, and great to have your company as we have a look at our two big races of the year here at the Singapore Turf Club, the Krisfly International Sprint and also the Singapore Airlines International Cup worth $3 million. So, well, we race just about all year round here in Singapore, and this is the big day we look forward to. These terrific races, international Group 1s, and we welcome so many horses to Singapore. Terrific horses, past winners, including Lucky 9, of course, has won the Krisfly on 2 occasions, and also Dan Excel and Military Attack, who have won Singapore Airlines International Cup to their name. Joining me on the panel to discuss these international races today, we have Larry Foley and also Gareth Pepper. And Gareth, well, Dan Excel, he's a winner from last year in this race. How's his track work been?
His track work's been super impressive, Matt. I've been very happy with him. Of the international runners, he's definitely one that stands out. He looks well, his coat looks exceptional. Very happy with the well-being of him, and maybe he can make it back-to-back victories this year.
Larry, we're very lucky to have a horse like Aero Velocity, a winner in Japan recently. He won the big international sprint down there in Hong Kong in December. He's got to be a strong chance here and pretty hot favourite, I would have thought.
He could be one of the better sprinters in the world. I mean, considering what he's done, it's very hard to travel to Japan to win at any time. So for them to take him over there, he's come back to Hong Kong. All accounts, he's travelled well. You mentioned before, you've mentioned that he's been up for a long time. But with this international travel, you don't do a lot of work. So hopefully, he looks good on the track here. He looks like he's settled in. I think he's going to be very hard to beat.
That's Aero Velocity, who's going around in the Krisfly International Sprint. Here is the race card for our premier sprint race of the year. And after the barrier draw, Lucky 9 came up trumps again. So did Aero Velocity, for that matter. They've drawn 2 and 3. Zach Spirit, our champion sprinter of last year. He's got Joe Moreira riding him from gate 5. Emperor Max, who ran second in the race last year, he's gate 1. The Toto, gate 7. Kiwi Karma, she'll start from gate number 4. Well, Lucky 9 needs no introduction, and he is looking to create history, isn't he, Gareth? He won the race in 2:13. He won it again in 2:14. Casper Fownes knows how to win it. Can he do it again?
Perhaps. The odds are stacked against him. He looks well, he's getting on a bit. Casper Fownes, he's no fool. He knows what it takes to win these races. He could be the dark horse in the lurker.
I'm not sure the odds are stacked against him so much. This time last year, the quality comes to the fore. Casper doesn't mind tossing around gear either. His last start, I think, at Hong Kong, he had no blinkers. He's racing with no blinkers here, I believe. So it's Casper knows what he's doing, and he's got to get him up for the day.
Well, this is his best recent run. We had to go back to February when he ran 3rd in the Chairman's Sprint Prize against some really nice types in that particular race as well. So, look, he's a class act. He is 8 years of age, so age is eventually going to stop him. But great to have him back to try and do what he's attempting to do, and that's make it 3 Krisflys in a row. He's always been a horse who has acted very well from a good barrier draw, and he's got it again in 2015. But it looks tough against Aero Velocity, who's a couple of years younger than him. And Aero Velocity, during the week, had his hit out on the turf. Gareth Pepper's been at the track work. I think Larry has as well.
Yeah, we both have. Aero Velocity, he's a beautiful specimen, lovely action, not overly pushed on the grass. Happy with him, his record speaks for itself. I know Larry and myself very keen on it, and Larry, a wonderful victory in Japan.
Takamaka Sumayama, Kinan, Japan over 1,200 metres. A little bit of rain about this day, which was a worry for the horse, but no worry. Zach Purton, who's a super Aussie hoop. Didn't he grow a leg, Zach, when he went to Hong Kong? I mean, obviously it was good to get there, but he's just been a marvel. And he's come over here and he's won over here, and he's just a good all-round package.
What he's trying to do can't be easy, to beat some of the best sprinters in the world in Hong Kong and then go to Japan and then come to Singapore. But he looks as though he's going to be the leading player in the market. And the barrier draw on Thursday, I caught up with his trainer, Paulo Sullivan. Sullivan, Aero Velocity drawing really nicely in the Krisfly.
Yeah, no, the gate 3's going to be a big help to him. He can take a forward position or stay one off the fence, but he's pretty versatile. It's very hard for us to sort of work out the speed in the race, but no doubt Zach will have it worked out come race day.
How long have you had this race on the radar?
Well, he had a very good season last season, but he had to go from Group 3 to Group 1, and you hope they do, and most don't. But at the start of the season, I'd planned to give him. We probably missed 3 or 4 domestic races with the idea of going to Japan at the end and all going well going to Singapore. So far it's turned out very well. But although he hasn't had a lot of racing, he's at the back end of a long campaign, but he looks nice and bright to me. So if he can bring his A game, he'd be very competitive.
Yeah, I think his A game just about wins it, but that's the concern to you, is it just potentially at the end of a campaign?
Yeah, you've always got to think of that. He's probably been racing now for eight and a half months, although he hasn't had a lot of racing, but it's been pretty tough every time he's stepped out. But he's given me every indication that he's going to be fine.
So the reports are pretty good there. Just a little bit of concern that he's been up for a while, but he's been looked after as well. He's done a terrific job, and it would cap off an amazing 6 months or so if he could add the Chris Fly sprint to what's a brilliant resume already.
Can't think of the last horse that went from winning a sprint in Japan to winning the Chris Flyer. Would be Takeover Target.
Not sure. I'm sure Lucky Nine has tried. He's been up to Japan a few times, hasn't he?
Lucky Nine's been a few places.
Yeah, he's a much travelled horse. But Aero Velocity, it's going to be awfully hard to beat. Rich Tapestry, a horse who actually bumped into our El Padrino, didn't he, in the Golden Shaheen?
But speaking of well-travelled, this is the first Hong Kong horse to win in the United States of America.
All right, well, let's talk more about Rich Tapestry and his very good third over in Dubai.
This was a great race to watch on two reasons. One, obviously, El Padrino did a super effort. And this is El Padrino's caper. He'll be coming from the back. So, that's him coming through in the whitish colours on the rails there with the blinkers on. Huge run compared.
Yeah, that's him on the outside, isn't it? Getting up to fourth. El Padrino, he ran sixth in this race last year. I think he can't win it. He had a trial the other day, he trialled very well, but he's made his name as an all-weather horse, hasn't he, really?
He's won in Korea, he's won in Dubai.
He has won in Dubai.
As IP man, not carnival style, but before the carnival, so he likes to travel, and anyway, but he's here, he's a good horse, he'll be doing his best work late.
Yeah, he's one of our better sprinters, and if it was on the poly track, he's probably... we'd be talking about him as a winning hope, but I don't think he can win it on the turf. A horse that certainly can win it for Singapore is Zach Spirit. He's been at the top of his game for a couple of seasons now and continues to hold his form, Gareth.
Working well. Cliff's followed the same pattern throughout this campaign. Grass him on the Saturday and on the Tuesday. He jumped out the gates. Hope there's not a repeat of last year at the gates, but it would be just so wonderful if he could represent himself well again here. And if any horse in the field deserves a victory in this race, he's one of them.
Well, it was just such a shame last year when he got himself stirred up. May have cost him his chance.
He ran third in the race, though.
He still ran a bottler, but I think he was, the fact that he couldn't beat Emperor Max past just showed that he was down a little on his best. Again, Emperor Max and Zach Spirit, there's basically nothing between them. And Kiwi Karma in this particular replay, she was enormous. The pace in the race was exceptional at the start. And I think all three runners that are taking their place from that replay in this field did a terrific job last time. And that includes Emperor Max, who's been a terrific horse for a season or two here in Singapore. And his trainer is Stephen Gray. We caught up with him at the barrier draw. Stephen Gray, you'll be wrapped with the draw for Emperor Max.
Yeah, very good. I think it's a good draw for him, and he can do what he wants, I suppose, and however it works out. Only issue, he's just got to jump a bit and hold his spot early.
His terrific run in the Lion City must have had you full of hope for this.
Oh, listen, the Lion City, I knew he'd run well, and we'd changed a lot since we prepared him for this race and hopefully the Chris Flyer, so that was his main two targets of this campaign, and we changed a lot with him.
Has he improved enough to win the race this year? He ran second last year.
Look, I think there's probably a couple of visitors that are probably maybe a bit better, and the time form tells you that, but I think he's improved from his run the other day, and I believe he's one of our better chances here, so I'm quietly confident, and I really do think he'll run well. So it's one of those races you hope. So I'm very, very happy with him. I'm really he'll run extremely well.
Let's hope so for Singapore. Second in the race last year, Emperor Max, and he's drawn gate number 1. Well, I think Stephen Gray with Emperor Max will be hoping a few of them come across, including Hatoto potentially, looking as though he's a genuine speed runner. He's a horse who's trained by Fownes Nas, and we're winding back the clock to January, where he wins over there in Dubai.
We all want him to win because Fownes Nas is such a good name to say, and so is Hatoto. So it'll be cheers all round. But no, I spoke to the Bahrain people early about this race. Would it get an invite? And it's done some times. It's a quick horse.
The big stocky bull of a horse as well. He's won 1,200. You get the impression that 1,000's probably his best trip, but I did make mention of it before that they're not letting his head go and work. He's built up. He's a strong guy. He's like a bodybuilder.
He's a coil.
He's a coiled spring. He's ready to erupt into action, and I think he'll ensure the pace is on.
Okay, so predicted pace with Hatoto. His trainer is Fownes. Fownes, great to have you in Singapore with Hatoto. Were you happy with the barrier draw?
Yeah, it could be worse. But 7 is all right, 7 out of 9. It's a small field, and he's a horse with some pace, so he should be okay.
Just looking at it, the local horses, Kiwi Karma and Magneto, both have pace, but looking at the record of your horse, it looks as though there's enough pace for it to perhaps lead this field.
Probably lead or be up there with the pace. You know, he's versatile enough, I'd say so.
Okay, and how have you assessed his form since he arrived?
He's in good shape. He's travelled well. We've done most of the work with him in Dubai, so it's a matter of freshening him up, and hopefully he'll go well.
Has he got the class to match the Hong Kong horses, do you think?
He sure does have the class, yeah.
Fownes there, predicting that he's got the class to go with the Hong Kong horses.
And he's been here before with Krypton Factor, who started favourite or close to it a few years ago.
Well, remember he beat Rocket Man in the Golden Shaheen, and then he came over here, and I think Rocket Man, that must have been the year Rocket Man got scratched.
And I presume Lucky 9 was the horse that won that year. I could be wrong.
Maybe 3 years
or
ago.
maybe Atto.
Yeah,
could have been actually the year. It was
Atto.
a weaker race, and Pat Shaw got his revenge with Atto.
Yeah, so he'll be hoping for a bit more fortune, because Krypton Factor really didn't fire, did he, in that particular race? But,
no, it was. I think there was a couple of reasons, but at least the trainers come once, have a look at the surroundings. So, like anything, marriages, second time round's always more enjoyable.
Is it really?
I don't know.
Okay, well, thanks for that. It's not just a horse show, you know. Kiwi Karma has already won the award for the smallest horse in the Chris Fly. Gareth?
The Pocket Rocket. I've got a soft spot for this girl in my heart. She's just all class. She's gutsy. She's a 3-year-old. We haven't seen the best of her. She's been running so well. I hope she can do it. But if she doesn't, don't fear, because I think she'll be back. She's a class act, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure class and gutsy can be put in the same description of a horse, if you know what I mean. You got the class or you got the guts. She's got the guts, hasn't she?
Well, I think if you get up to this level, you
rocket.
have the class, and if the guts comes to the table, that's what wins you Group 1 races.
Combination of both.
Yeah,
she's got the pace to put herself in the race, and she's got the stamina to see it out. We've seen her win over 1,400 metres, and she's just, 54 is going to help her. I can't help but think she's going to run a cracking race here for Singapore.
We could have an all-up Kiwi Karma and a Step It Up, two smallest horses.
Smallest horses.
With both race very similarly, just guts and just determination, isn't it?
Kiwi Karma for me to win it over Aero, Velocity, Zach Spirit and Lucky 9. 9, 2, 5 and 1.
I've got Aero Velocity on top. I'd love for Kiwi Karma to bring home the result for Singapore, Zach Spirit and Emperor Max. But Aero Velocity on top for me. Kiwi Karma will be pulling for her, as well as Zach Spirit. They're both not without their chances here in the Chris Flyer.
And Larry's top 4?
Top 4 for me, well, you've got to put Aero Velocity on top. From just the 5, which is Zach Spirit, Kiwi Karma, of course. She might look the winner late. And for 4th, I'm going to throw in Lucky 9. It's just a terrific horse.
Okay, 2, 5, 9 and 1 for Larry. Well, that's the Cruise Fly International Sprint of 2015. What we're going to do now is take a break. And after the break, we'll have a look at the $3 million Singapore Airlines International Cup.